Hello and welcome back to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel, your source for all things Everton. My name's Thomas. Welcome back to an extra time segment. It's our first loss of the season, very disappointing, but we're going to dissect it in a bit more detail today, joined by Terry McAllister and Owen Parks. And obviously, very disappointing result overall, as I mentioned. Bit of a, coming back to earth. I'm not sure anyone thought we were win the league or anything, because there was those accusations on Twitter, people going on, everyone's buzzing that Everton have finally lost. Everyone's buzzing Everton finally lost, but I think that shows where we're on the table. But Terry, coming to you first, just general reaction of that absolute shambles that it was. It's a few days ago now.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's had a mad result so far, haven't they? Maybe this is our one. We'll go back to winning every game now. Yeah, it's not told us anything we didn't already know. I mean, what this game has done is shown just how light we are on depth for quality. Got plenty of bodies, plenty of numbers, absolutely no quality and depth in certain areas of the pitch. So, the personnel we've chosen in this game has upset not just, there's obviously been a drop off man for man, with Richarlison and Coleman going out, but it also has lowered the overall quality of the teams. It's upset the formula a little bit. So the players who are used to certain combinations, certain teammates being around to help them out, they haven't been there, and it's lowered their games as well. So and frankly, Southampton played really well. Like they clearly done their homework on Everton, clearly knew a way to hurt Everton, and they exploited it, and we didn't really have an answer. I mean, the first 20 minutes, I think they came out and they paid us a little bit of respect, and we sort of went back and forth. But I think the key for me, and I don't want to just because no player really acquitted himself very well, but I don't want to pick on individual players just yet. But I think when we were playing in the first 20 minutes, the penny dropped for them that we didn't have pace to hurt them on the break, because every time we give it to a Iwobi, who would have been Richarlison typically, instead of attacking the goal directly like Richarlison would do, Iwobi slowed things down and kept bringing it back and looking for wanting more time than he had on the ball. And I think that sort of just informed Southampton a little bit that Everton can't hurt us on the break. So what we're going to do is we're going to push up and hurt them out wide, especially down our right-hand side, which, we'll go over in a minute. They certainly did. So our team selection didn't help us play our best game, and it played right to the hands of Southampton, who, as we said in the the preview show, full of energy, full of pressing, full of pace, and a little bit of quality where it mattered. So it just wasn't our day. Too many players missing, and a couple of other players who weren't the races who were playing.
Yeah, it was a good performance by Southampton, to be fair. They're clearly a very decent side. They know exactly what they're doing, but we didn't exactly help ourselves. Owen, what were your general reactions to that?
To be honest, I think me and Terry were speaking in the preview before the game, and he could probably tell I wasn't feeling too confident by the game, because I was saying we haven't really done well there, and I just felt their high press would kill us, and it did. What their high press did with having no Richarlison, we didn't have that option to going over the top, so they didn't have to worry about dropping back 10 yards because they knew Calvert-Lewin's not great 1v1. James isn't really going to beat a man, and Iwobi's not going to do that either. So they could just press on us and win the ball back higher up, because we had no way of just hitting them on the break, like Terry said. Defensively, I didn't think the things that we've been getting right defensively, even when we haven't been keeping clean sheets, we've been getting through moments and then finding the moments ourselves. We didn't do that. We conceded 2 quick fire goals. Could have been 3. It was just a mess from like the goalie to the striker. It was just a mess. Credit to Southampton, I thought they played very well until they put the foot on the gas once Digne got sent off. But like I said, it was just an overall poor performance. I hope that's our poor performance out the way now. I think everyone's had one.
Yeah.
I'd just like to see going forward a little bit more balance to our attack, even with the current injury problems we have. I'd like to see Gordon play more, and I'd just like to see us getting back to what we were good at a couple of weeks ago, which was catching teams cold on the break, as opposed to just trying to walk the ball in. And I feel like times on Sunday, we were just so slow. We were like a 90s Dutch team. We just couldn't move.
Yeah, we spoke about Richarlison there. You take Richarlison out of the team, obviously a lack of pace. No one's really going to beat a man. Another player that we're obviously missing, Seamus Coleman to injury, and of course with John Joe Kenny also injured. Ben Godfrey comes in for his first start. Came off the bench against Liverpool at right back. Did quite well, I thought. Terry, what did you think about him at right back in this game?
He was really uncomfortable, wasn't he? And he was doubled up on. Simple as that. They'd identified, like, James is not going to, track back much. They're going to pull a defender across, usually to Corey, to cover him. So if we push up on Godfrey, this is Southampton, they're going to leave spaces in the middle. And it's what we did all the time. Like, for the drag backs for the goal, there was no one there to cut them out. It's, to be honest, the Henderson goal that never was against Liverpool was the same, wasn't it? There was a drag back and one of the midfielders wasn't there to sort of counter it. Godfrey's not a right back. If he was part of a back three or if he's moved to centre back, he'd do all right. But there was nothing he could do. He tried to get forward as much as he could, but he couldn't beat a man when he got hold of it. He was very much a centre back playing at right back, and that sort of hurt James's game as well. Where every time James got it, there was no space opened up for him with the overlap and run, because Godfrey, because of the pace that Southampton had down that side, he didn't want to overcommit himself constantly, because he would have just left one side exposed completely. So he stayed back a lot. I just think it was a square peg in a round hole. I think, we obviously thought we'd get away with it because, he's a good athlete and a good defender. And we went to know before the game that a big part of their tactics was going to be to try and exploit that side. So I don't know whether we'll see him in the next game, whether John Joe Kenny will be back. No, I don't really particularly rate John Joe Kenny, as a top Premier League player. But I think for the overall balance of the team, it might be better just to have a natural right back in that position. Even if you were to move Godfrey inside and, play him at centre-back alongside one of the other two. But yeah, I think that is going to be something we're going to see teams try and exploit if we're going to play him out of position, because he was very limited there.
Do you want an unpopular opinion? Everton get at least a draw yesterday if Jibril Stevie was right back, because he would have forced them back. He would have overlapped and he would have pushed them back, but they'd have had something to worry about. Godfrey, he couldn't get forward. So DB at his very best got forward and made teams think about what they had to do defensively. All right, he couldn't defend himself, but he was pretty decent going forward.
Yeah, I think you could play a centre-back at full-back if you had Richarlison ahead of them, because he's got the pace and the direct running to go down the outside, and he comes back and covers, enough to, to help out. Whereas James, we're playing a 4-3-3, and James is like a member of the front three who's got the free role. Like, usually, Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin are like moving forward whenever James gets the ball and he feeds the two of them. That's fine. That works for us going forward and attack. But I think the right back then needs to have a bit of both. They need to be able to go up the line to push the opposition fullback back and be able to go up and down and provide something himself, the outside ball for James. It didn't work. It was too blunt. He's not slow, Godfrey, by any means. He's quick, but he's not quick in the sense of he's going to beat a man, with a standing start. He's got recovery pace. He's not got blistering pace, you know what I mean? So it was just I before the game, when I saw the lineup, I was like, not much we could have done about it. But I was like, that's slow. They're a really fast team in wide areas, and we've got very little pace. They're the only fast player we've got in the whole team. You'd say is fast as Calvert-Lewin, and he's an off the ball type fast. He's not going to pick the ball up and run with it. So I thought we were in for a difficult afternoon when I saw the lineup, but again, it's things we can't avoid. Like Richarlison's a massive miss, and it just shows that front three and probably, the middle three that we've been playing, at least two of them are going to be nailed in for whenever they're fit. They're going to play, and then the rest of the team, like the centre backs and the not so much the left back, but the centre backs and the right back. It's going to be mix and matching for a few games, aren't we?
Yeah, and obviously we were kind of forced into those two changes because of injuries. And obviously we were forced into 2 changes at the weekend, but a change that Ancelotti clearly decided to make was taking out Gomez in that third centre midfield role, giving it to Gylfi Sigurdsson instead. Owen, what did you make of that change?
I was all for it, so I'm not going to sit here now and say, "Oh, what a terrible decision that was." I would have done exactly the same. I think what hurt us more was, like Terry said, pace in wide areas. I think that they weren't blistering through the middle, Southampton, but they got in around us through the sides very well and got the ball in the box. But yeah, Gylfi weren't brilliant, but it was a product of everyone not being brilliant rather than just it being Gylfi Sigurdsson. Having any other midfielder in it, I don't think would have made any difference. I think what I would say is for next week, my third midfielder with Allen and Decore would be Fabian Delph.
Terry, do you agree with that?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of Delph. But what this game made me think is the way we're set up. I hate to do this, but if you look at the way Liverpool set up, their front three, all right, Firmino comes back a little bit, but their front three are very high and left to it. Whereas I think I was watching what I took away from the game was if Gabaman can stay fit when he's back, and obviously providing he's all right. We don't know whether he's going to even cut in the Premier League yet because he hasn't even played. But if Gabaman is a decent player and can stay fit, I can imagine Gabaman being the third one of that middle three. So you've got not as much creativity in there, but you've got proper defensive cover and actual structure, because I don't think Allen personally suits the number 6 role in as much as he'd probably be better in the sort of Idrissa Gueye, so the pressing role. Like he keeps having to come back. How many times have you seen him running backwards when we're getting counter-attacked? He's not sitting in front of the back four. In this game, he's sort of going to try and press, and I think that's what suits him better. The best way I can say it is he makes me think of an Idrissa Gueye, not a Schneiderlin. And I think that might be what we do. We might sort of move Decore into the Andre Gomez, Gylfi Sigurdsson role, the player who can, get forwards and help the attack, and then have Gabaman and Allen going forward. Now, short term, it might be Delph because, Delph, he's far more defensive than Andre Gomez and Sigurdsson, because Gomez was terrible against Liverpool, so I was all for, changing him out as well. And Sigurdsson him and Iwobi were just identical. They were practically playing in the same pair of shorts, weren't they? Like, they were just in each other's way all game. They were just occupying a lot of the same spaces. And I think we've got all these players, and all of their best position is the James Rodriguez role, where it's sort of like a number 10 with a free role. That's what Iwobi really wants to play. That's what, Sigurdsson wants to play. That's what Bernard probably wants to play. And none of them are going to play it. They're all not very good in like the sort of the Richarlison role or the attacking, central midfielder role. They all want to be that free number 10 role, and none of them are good enough to do it apart from James. So I just think I don't think any of them will stay at the club long term. I think next summer all 3 will probably go, because they all got on the pitch against Southampton, and none of them did a thing to make me think play them next game. If we had Richarlison back, none of them would be in the team.
Alex Iwobi got a lot of stick yesterday, and rightly so. He was terrible, but there's no one going to mention that what excuse of a cameo for Bernard. Jesus, I think either of us could have gone on the pitch and we wouldn't have done as bad as he did. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
A major situation we're obviously going to have to talk about. We've had problems at right back. All of a sudden, we've got a bit of a dilemma at left back. Luca Digne red card. Owen, what did he make of the challenge? What did he think it was a red? Did he think it was a yellow, an orange? Whatever you want to call it.
An orange. It's irrelevant because we could have took our tops off to celebrate yesterday, and we'd have got a red card for it. We were getting a sending off or a dodgy penalty against us, regardless of what happened yesterday. So whether I think it was a red card or not, it's pretty irrelevant, because we were always going to get one, and it's not going to get overturned either. So no, it's literally hard to judge any tackle we put in, because there was always going to be a red card. Anything that was even remotely borderline. So it's just the way it is. It's a bit of a joke, but it's something that we're going to have to put up with now because we're apparently a team of thugs, which isn't said nobody ever, by the way. But fine, but let's roll with it because I'd rather be known as a little bit snide than one of the media's darling play out from the back singing Ali Ali O bloody teams who just get battered 6-0 every week. So let's just take the positives out of it.
Yeah, Terry, do you agree? Was that kind of inevitable? Was it a red card?
Yeah, I mean, as Owen said, we were getting a red card for a foul throw yesterday. No matter, we were always going to get it. We were always going to get a red card, but he's made it dead easy for him, Digne, hasn't he? Like, I think if he hadn't had that little bite at him before the coming together, he might have been all right. Well, in a normal set of circumstances, he would have been all right. Still got one anyway, because, you know, that's the way it is. But he's made it so easy because he looks like he's tried to take the ball in the first instance and missed, so it looks like he swung at the player and missed. And then he's running after him, chasing him. And he's in full stride. And, you know, he doesn't change his run, doesn't change anything. So you can tell he's just ran over his leg. But it is a red card. Like, at the time, I was like, is it though? And then, yeah, like Robertson against us for Allen was a red card. And I think there was intent and malice in that one. But the referee doesn't know that, does he? So I think that one was a red card. So I can't sit here and say that the Digne one wasn't. But listen, like we've had the standing army of red pundits and, you know, cult member journalists and the power of the influence of that club has basically, you know, had its say this week, hasn't it? Where, you know, we've now Everton have gone overnight since, because we injured one of their, you know, star names. Now we're all of a sudden a dirty team. We're Wimbledon. We kick everyone off the pitch. Going, hang on. 2 weeks ago, no one would have said this, but because one player's got injured in a freak coming together, you know, that I just wish Pickford had got sent off because we wouldn't have had all this. Now it's being cast as, oh, you know, they're a mafia Everton. They get away with all kinds, and just not true. I'm not against the idea of being a team of hard-asses, but we haven't even got a team of hard-asses. We just had a really unfortunate injury happen with a stupid tackle from the goalkeeper, and now we're getting recast as, you know, prime Stoke. It's like, come on.
Don't worry. When the fans are back in Goodison and we're 2-0 up at home to Newcastle, I wouldn't have Gladys Street singing 2-0 to the rugby team, 2-0.
Yeah, it's. I mean, yeah, we were getting a red card for something or a penalty or something or other, but Dean's not made it difficult for the ref there. The refs had it handed to him on a plate, and he said thanks very much.
Yeah, so there you have it. Don't want to dwell on that game for too long, really. So we're going to bring that extra time to a close. Thank you all very much for watching. Thanks to Owen and Terry for coming on. Be sure to check out everyone's social media. Let us know down below what you thought about the game. Did you think it was a red card for Digne? What did you think of Godfrey at right back? All the talking points of this video, do let us know in the comments down below. So thank you very much for watching, and join us next time on the Toffee Blues.